Thanks, Sierra. Yep, Choo-Choo, we're going to Elimination Station, y'all. And it's sad, but I'm excited to see also a team, you know, glass half full. A team's going to get their first win today.
Yeah, that actually is really exciting. Obviously, Prosperity Esports being the team that kind of came in out of nowhere, and then SAD Esports, a little bit of reconfiguring going on here, and now being in a position where they can finally get their first win. You know, some of these pieces are starting to fit together a little bit more, and so both of these teams have a lot riding. Obviously, the elimination, yes, but this is like that sign that it's like, okay, we're starting to click things together. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think that SAD Esports, they're clicking just a little bit better compared to Prosperity Esports. So that might not be the best news, but at the same time, like, anything can really happen. We knew that this is going to be a close matchup between these two teams. So Prosperity, they have to win this map if they want a chance at surviving in Split 2.
And the big difference, right? The KO versus the Sova, where the KO can get so much information off that knife early. You already maybe dinged the jet around mid, so SAD have that to work off of. So keeping their eyes and keeping their KO Joa in mid, where usually you would see a KJ be more on that mid responsibility. While on the Sova, the Hunter's Fury, so great for the A site, so great to deal with a lockdown. Deep info, if your recon survives that long, and Benji's not surviving that long, trying to go for the high ground. Vantig just did not spot Joa in time, so you have even numbers. A good plan for Prosperity, playing off the Viper wall too, but you gotta deal with these high ground defenders. Prosperity can't just climb up, and well, Izo's gonna frag out. It's just trade after trade, and eventually Joa will thrive. Getting 3 this round, and pretty much all left to Tuesday to defuse, but man, it was a bloodbath for this site, Marks.
Yeah, that was just like a brawl happening on the actual site. If you look at the minimap before it disappears, like, the X's are just all over that B site in so many different places all over there. But on top of it, SAD Esports does come out on top. And, you know, we've done a lot of highlighting about how SAD like to play, a lot of the util traps that we can expect, especially on a map like ICEBOX. I'm expecting this is going to be a very annoying time here for Prosperity specifically, because there's just a lot of utility that SAD are bringing to the table, where you can get those combos online or zone people out or find a kill. Just, there's a lot to play around with and deny space or delay things out of SAD Esports' pocket. Prosperity, it's still a little bit more frag forwards, thinking about that Sova and the Jet. Of course, they can overpower the defenses here, but they got to start fast. And Zerona, make sure that it's going to be a tough one.
And Zad was kind of... Zerona was in this one-and-done position of being around yellow box that didn't disengage off their wall fast enough, but somehow flicks onto 2 with the Sheriff, and then the rest of SAD can pick up the pieces. And Prosperity had a good moment to punish and just overwhelm Zerona, but just maybe weren't expecting someone to be that close and kind of in an awkward spot. So Prosperity have now failed both times over at B, as Yuki at least is doing the right thing of changing up sites, but trying to deny any of this weaponry from SAD on the bones would be ideal.
Yeah, at this point, like, just get the spike down, get an ultimate orb, get a little bit of money, but it's going to be an impossible mountain to climb as all the members of SAD come back.
I like where Prosperity are placing their Viper wall to really force a difficult decision out of the defense of SAD over on B. Like, do you want to play on the other side, let Prosperity get a plant, and just kind of wait for the cycle of fuel? And SAD kind of were caught in this awkward spot, and Zerona still managed to frag out. So I think Prosperity just need to lock in and react quicker in these moments where this really dictated the round. You have kind of a high-low going on. People are checking angles that are not all the bases are covered for Prosperity, and they can't leave those gaps.
Oh, and on top of that too, like, out of all the players to go down on SAD side, it's Zerona, the one player who had a Sheriff in hand. And so, yeah, we're going to be seeing Zerona buy up a Phantom this time around. The bonus is going to be nice and easy here. But this time, Prosperity, they're moving out towards this A side a little bit. But look at this, already a bit of util is just going to force them back. And meanwhile, Zerona has taken so much space out front of B. Might find it timing here, but never mind. Yuki is ready to punish. And so that might call a little bit of rotation, but Prosperity look instead just to you know, anchor things down, play the information game a little bit more. It's going to be an interesting one, though, if they do move in on the B, given the fact that Benji is going to be just kind of anchoring things down there. One swarm grenade in front. As, yeah, the read from Sad is not going to be quite there. The stealth bot going to be moving outside A, finds nothing, while Benji's going to make the call for the Owl drone, flying in on B.
Why would Zerona push solo there? I feel like could have worked with Benji, either play aggressive or passive together. Now it's leaving a lot on Benji just to be on the other side of this wall, and thankfully he's going to go into an even more safer position because, you know, that wall could have came down and Benji being dead would have just really sealed the deal for Prosperity on their first rifle round. So Sad need to definitely clean up their approach on B. Prosperity now can just play from yellow box and play the long range game, and some great information off the recon from Yuki for Magic to execute everyone that was revealed. German, though, feels he had the Marshall, and Bulldog's going to be better to keep. But clean round for Prosperity at the end of the day.
And look at this, they all just run back. They know they've got the util to make sure that this happens. So German just going to be potentially looking for some exits there. We'll find one, but choose to go down to the spike. Make sure you get that utility, or sorry, economy nice and a reset. And so that's going to be Prosperity being able to win out that first, their first round, given the fact that they had rifles on line. Jerwin this time is going to be bringing an operator into the fray. And yeah, I gotta call out that early aggression from Zerona, just kind of alone. Zerona, excellent flanker, but was completely unsupported and kind of walked into a trap that Prosperity were setting. Playing a little bit slower that round and, well, didn't get rewarded for anything because of it. So let's see how Prosperity go. They're moving in onto A this time. Of course, it's gonna be the KO knife tossed in, and make sure that no information is gonna be gained at all. Goodbye, Owl drone. You can't use that one anymore, as the Magic just kind of push it up here. But it is a very tight hold from SAT Esports this time.
Joe is getting pings on almost every single round with these knives. And usually it's been hitting Jerwin, preventing him from dashing and being aggressive off the rib, like not letting Prosperity get a good fight for the A orb. And now because of this more laid back approach from Sad, not only on the B side, but the A side, it's working out. Yeah, they give up A control, the A orb control, but they have way better angles to play off of. A great first blood, or second blood, I should say, from Tuzi. And Prosperity haven't been able to shut down these angles. Magic has to take a wrap around through the left side, unsupported, gets two. But again, Yuki, the last one left, just to get farmed up. So Sad definitely have found a better strat to deal with this, just to be on defense with.
Yeah, and like you said, it just really came down to those positions that Sad were setting themselves up on. They just simply did not get cleared. We get to see Tuzi just kind of go free farming up top there as everyone just kind of runs by and just like it was over before it even started. Tuzi, once again, completely unchecked, gets 2 free kills. Magic almost pulled that one back, but once again, just the anchoring coming in from Sad, making sure that they're just watching these very specific angles. Prosperity not checking those specific angles, and now it's going to be the knives from Magic up top, but immediately shut down.
Prosperity tried to change it up, test what's going on the kitchen side of things, and definitely Prosperity paid for it. Of course, with Sheriffs, I don't mind this approach, but Sad has been keeping their KJ turret to mark anyone into the kitchen side. Zerona almost got an ace, and Sad get away with the flawless to pad the stats, but also pad their economy. Not having to buy up is pretty critical.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, you can tell the intention from Prosperity is, all right, gang, let's go in there and have a fun time. Except the way that SAT Esports are playing, especially with their utility, is to deny them that space, to stall them out just a little bit longer, make it more uncomfortable for Prosperity to try and find anything. And so you see, it almost feels like desperate from Prosperity when they're like forcing the issue. They're forcing Magic to just kind of fly in, forcing another player to try and take that space, despite the fact that SAT are just doing a good job at utiling them out of their way. And as soon as they push in, they're holding those angles to make sure that they shut down a lot of these things. We're seeing that kind of like rambunctiousness that we saw from Prosperity on the last map, where SAT was able to string together so many of their different rounds. And I think that it just needs to be a little bit more put together, a little bit more cleaned up, smoothened around the edges there. And then we can really start to see Prosperity potentially start to pull themselves back, which we know that they are very capable of. And especially too, given the fact that they are taking this time out here, could mean that they've got something cooked up. They do have that Hunter's Fury as well as the Armageddon online. That could be excellent opening tools, or they might simply just try and hold out and wait until Zerona is using that Viper's Pit and then just kind of flush that Viper out. Because, you know, if with how Sad play, very heavily relying on the Viper's Pit whenever it does get deployed, that's always a good thing to kind of do in order to shut something down.
Prosperity, I have kind of a 3-2 split right now, and just being able to dodge that knife initially from Joa too opens things up. Prosperity don't have their positions revealed, don't have their initial intentions revealed, and after just maybe some noise or an inkling, Sad throw out the Armageddon, thinking Prosperity had advanced through B. And I think just using your eyes, you would have noticed that Prosperity weren't there at B long. So the Pit and the Armageddon is used to lock out B. Prosperity have already begun their swarm into A off the Armageddon, leaving Benji a chance to jump peek, figure out if Vantic is on the top of this tower. We'll be clashing against Magic. As Joa throws out the knife. Prosperity wait on the other side of the Viper wall. Just hope to play from the main side of things. Jerwin watches above and trying to get some high ground. Good flashes are coming out of Sad. Where is the capitalization? It's Jerwin and Benji now fragging at range. Prosperity need to get eyes on the spike, and yeah, he got the spike getting tapped. Yuki, always the last one left, and is gonna go out kicking and screaming. But Sad's retakes are just too good.
Yeah, that was absolutely clean. Sure, it's a little bit of a blunder if you're on SAD Esports. You invest 2 very big ultimates into that B site, and nobody from Prosperity was there. But on the flip side there, a null command from Joa really shuts down a lot of what Prosperity Esports wanted to do. You could see that immediately they were getting themselves set up on these angles. Okay, this is perfect. We can drop down some smokes, get the sprays down, then we can toss our utility. Classic ICEBOX A stuff. But the null command shuts down that very initial thing of getting the smokes up. And suddenly SAD Esports are having a much easier time moving in and aggressing into that post-plant positioning, not even allowing Prosperity an opportunity really to use any of their util. And so it was just an excellent read, an excellent play on the retake coming in from Zed. We'll forget about the beginning of that round in order to really highlight that second part. But it really left Prosperity just kind of scratching their head. And on top of that too, gets a couple of pretty big ultimates out of Prosperity's pocket as well. Benji, still with the lockdown, will more or less get it for free because there's no longer the Hunter's Fury to really contest it.
Benji got that because on Sad's B side, or A side, they throw an KO knife. Prosperity have been conditioned to not just be aggressive off of that, so Sad have been able to get that orb for free, which got the lockdown for Benji, and hence why Sad even tried to walk up through mid. They destroyed the KJ turret. It's got Prosperity all paranoid, so Prosperity have to kind of keep these positions, keep what little back control they do have. And then Sad can just play off the lockdown retake, as you said. And Jerwin's just gonna updraft past the Viper wall, double ping some Prosperity to try and frag through all the smokes. But Sad are just better in these brawls. And you got Jerwin's knives that are out. A flawless round to really kick Prosperity in the teeth.
Yeah, and I gotta raise some questions right now. Prosperity, they sent Magic all the way onto that A site. In the midst of all of that brawl, they were missing their key fragger. Out of all the players on Prosperity, sure, we've seen Manny do crazy things on the flank, but all the more reason why you would expect the Killjoy to be flanking, not the Jet. It made it so much more difficult for the engagement to happen. They didn't have the tip of their spear ready to go, and so they just kind of walk in and immediately get just shot out once the util comes out to reinforce their positioning. So a bit of a blunder yet again as SAD Esports, they continue to take a pretty dominant lead. We see as well Prosperity, they're forced down to lower weaponry here, and they are going to be making a go of it onto this A side. Battle Drone already goes down, and SAD very quick to respond. This time around, there's not going to be any mind shenanigans happening. SAD have the read on what's happening.
Great snipe out of Jerwin. The op really hurting them. The Jerwin backpack was so real on Lotus because of that. And he still gets to live on being a threat behind here. Lockdown has to happen for Prosperity. Counter lockdown from the defense. So this is just going to be a no man's land for either team. So Prosperity just going to frag what they can. Couple of seconds to get out, and 2 players got detained, and Zerona just had to deal with it. But just great bodyguard Ezo. That's why you sub him in. Now everyone's undetained, and Prosperity get to move forward.
A little bit messier than you probably would have wanted there. I think for sure Tuesday was like, yeah, I can get it. Yeah, I can get it. Just a little bit too late. But all of this utility that Prosperity were looking at to try and get this site is now utilized, and that's why this is so hard.
It's just like an object permanence thing. Like you saw the op early here. The op is still there. Now it's dead, but it costed you a lot of bodies. And Prosperity, it was just messy. Like no one should be getting detained there. Zerona could have ended that round a lot earlier, but the Sheriff, I think Zerona had a Sheriff, and also Ezo was ready to protect those detained teammates. And Prosperity are starting to really suffer on their attacks. They're managing to dodge the KO knives, which is nice, but you're not seeing Magic, like you pointed out earlier, really activate and take that space, dash up forward. I'm seeing Jerwin like updraft past Viper walls and pick up an op. He's 12-3. Like we need to see that kind of magic out of Prosperity.
It's like when you see a good Jet, it's so easy to point out, like, you know that the Jet's feeling it. You see this dynamic movement. You see these crazy angles being taken, finding fights, finding kills, and then immediately backing off. And that's kind of what Jerwin's been doing with that operator in hand. Prosperity Esports on the other side, like we see their initial engagements are, you know, tossing all that util. Okay, now we can move in past this smoke. Now we can make it through this choke point. And then, like I said, SAD Esports, they toss out the utility, they stall them out, which results then in Prosperity having to just kind of walk through things without any supporting utility and expect to find kills. That's not how it works, especially against a team like SAD, which is so good at playing pesky angles and so good at just anchoring things down. And you really have to remove them simply just by going in and avoiding a lot of their util and being so diligent in checking all of your corners. Prosperity are just kind of getting foiled by that round after round as we're getting closer to that half. But SAD Esports right now, like, it's 7-1, and they show no signs of slowing down. Prosperity have been having difficulties even getting the spike down, but this time around, if they do, they will have that Viper's Pit available, which will make it a little bit easier for them, assuming that once again they can foil some of this utility that comes out from SAD Esports.
And I would have liked to see Prosperity fight for an orb if they can get Yuki set up with the Hunter's Fury. Now that the lockdowns are out, well, at least your win condition could be to really take over this lane, but yellow box control is the first priority. Around the corner, Tuesday just swings with Zerona, who gets 2. It's kind of even trades. Tuesday has to take the mantle while Zerona is down, and that's dodged the salvos first. Thankfully, he didn't tunnel on the guy. This Prosperity still have the spike in hand, but Manny was doing a little too much exploring for the amount of members that were left, leaving Ezo in a dire spot. And it's really Prosperity just needing to get momentum and signs of what is successful for us on the attack. And it's been a lot of B hits, and maybe off the Hunter's Fury from Yuki, A side could look better next round, but got to figure it out soon because it's elimination day.
And we're inching closer and closer to that potential elimination here. Once again, just like all things not working out for Prosperity, they try and beat their heads against this B-side push, relying on Manny to potentially find a couple of flanks, get a little bit more space, and then you're able to move through and everything will be fine. But just immediately, Manny gets shut down, and so all options are kind of closed. And SAD Esports, like, they just find those opening kills there, and it's just over from there. Prosperity Esports, they're all moving forwards. They're trying their best, but simply just cannot find any kills through the middle of all of it. And so SAD, like, at this point, they've kind of got their feet up on the desks. They're chilling. They're having a good time out in the cold. And they're, once again, just showing no signs of really slowing down. Already, we're getting closer to a couple of other key ultimates online, while Prosperity are in such a weird buy up here. You see that Magic is going to have a rifle in hand, has to make something happen. But if they're the first kill yet again, then that's going to be so hard for Prosperity to find anything.
I would have even liked if Ezo saved last round. So I was wondering if the last streak was going to be enough. And kind of decide to going to a lot of like, Guardian, Bulldog, Sheriffs, and Jerwin. I mean, all of SAD are so rich, and Jerwin's now been popping off with the op at A, and Prosperity now have their Sova joining in, which having a recon and the quick swing, quick flick from Jerwin. And I'm surprised Prosperity are still thinking about inching forward with how good this op has been. Jerwin is going to be pressured and backed off. I like this Armageddon from Ezo, and Prosperity need to take advantage of that window for Jerwin. We repositions, but it's too late. Prosperity are sneaking when they really needed to be loud and proud about this round. You got to go out kicking and screaming if you can. Won't be a flawless round for SAD, but someone surely will recover the op for SAD. But, I mean, they're pretty rich, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think SAD should be pretty comfortable going forward.
And now Manny going to try and make the most out of this situation. Seen crazier things happen here. Is able to at least find that first one, but still up against 2. Low HP as well as time ticks down.
High-low setup too. Good execution at the end. And I think Manny thought, okay, maybe that third member could have swung on me on the left side, and had a difficult decision in the moment. Do I go for the double kill? Do I try to isolate the one-on-ones? And hey, at least you had the upgraded weapon, but the economy is what's really going to kill Prosperity, or whatever that is left. Only a couple rounds left in this half, and you're hoping Prosperity have a better showing on their defense coming up.
Yep.
And maybe they'll be able to do so. Or, you know, Manny is, I see more as like a Clove and a duelist player, and now has to kind of settle with being a lurker and a mid watcher. So we'll see.
I like this. We're seeing a little bit of a swap up here as Prosperity are pressuring middle a little bit more. They also find Jerwin, who is just not expecting anybody to be there. So this is a lot of very good space being taken. You can tell SAD Esports are trying to reinforce this one. We'll at least find the successful trade, but at this point too, it's going to be a full site attack here, as it's going to be now 3v3, as the spike still needs to get planted.
Benji is delaying so well. Didn't get hit by the suppression of the Tejo drones, so kind of activated all the mollies, and Prosperity couldn't immediately plant. That allowed SAD to reinforce to support Benji to actually trade pretty evenly. Now it's a 1 versus 1 where guess what? Zerona has to save it, and it's kind of like a ring around the rosy going on.
Ships passing in the night. Neither player aware of where the other one is. This is still very much a winnable scenario for Prosperity.
30 seconds
Ezo
left.
just needs to find the timing. Still has the salvo as well. Will now be able to pick up the spike here. Snakebite available for Zerona, as the spike is going to be potentially going down as Zerona just moves
Spike
up.
planted.
Oh, what a heads-up play from Ezo to clutch that for Prosperity at the end. And Zerona
Last
maybe
round in the half.
kind of the jig being up of the Viper wall coming down, so thinking, okay, they want to see where the spike was planted. They're maybe playing from main, and I think just this opening pick too of Manny. I was just pointing out that he's kind of like a pseudo duelist, and he has played duelist, and he's been that mid watcher, but he's also, he don't just watch, he also attack. And it's such a great opening pick onto SAD, and that helped things for Prosperity.
And once again, it's like they shut down the Jerwin operator. They're having a much better time, but the economy has just spiraled so much for SAD Esports. Even if they lose that, that's no big deal. It's going to be a fight outside of A. Yet again, the util dump has already happened here, and SAD are just holding these angles, watching, waiting for Prosperity to make a move.
Yeah, just this KO knife has really put Prosperity into submission when it comes to just wanting to take space early. The Viper wall being down to like SAD want open sightlines for this Jerwin op, and this has either been at the back rafters and the top tower, and Prosperity are so nervous that if Magic gets hit by a suppression, she can come out from the Taylor drone too, and Magic's just on the floor and dead immediately. Prosperity want to minimize so many risks, and maybe just burning a lot more time in this round, get SAD exhausted of util, could be a good edge to work with. Zerona getting chased out by the salvos. First blood for Prosperity, and a plant that could come out once the Viper wall is set up.
Oh, and Look at this. Prosperity actually completely back around. They leave
30 seconds
Vantic
left.
in this weird little cubby hole here, potentially trying to find a timing. But yeah, it's because of Manny being able to have so much space on that A site that they should be able to get a nice, easy plant down. Timing is a little bit bad, but they now will be able to get the lockdown as well, which should be a pretty good boon as the SAD Esports time is going to be against them on this retake.
You should
I'd like to see Prosperity get really proactive, get eyes on rafters. Well, a lockdown is going to be nice. It'll force SAD out for a few more seconds. This will put a lot of pressure on SAD to act quickly. Sherwin's going to have knives out, not going to sit with the op and be on the sniper's perch. He's going to get in Prosperity's space, and how hidden or how up front the Prosperity are going to be. Well, they fight tooth and nail for it. Now a 2 versus 2. Last round of the half, Hunter's Fury for Yuki. And as soon as he hears the spike get tapped, you're watching over it. Jerwin gets it halfway somehow, tanking the first Hunter's Fury shot, going for the finish. No time left to do it. And Yuki, a clutch at the end to make this 9-3.
Oh, man. Straight up, if Jerwin stuck the spike there, I think the defense probably could have went through. But opts to play a little bit safer instead and is able to find the kill on the Magic. And yeah, now Prosperity, they're able to get it thanks to some brilliant little shenanigans going around the site, going one site, going to the other, and then back around, able to find and isolate a couple of kills there. I'm surprised once again that we didn't see the op try to find Magic in the midst of all of that, but still doesn't quite work out well for SAD Esports. All good though, because they've got 6 rounds to really continue to you know, make sure they solidify this potential 2-0 against Prosperity and once again, stay alive in split 2. We're seeing the swap around happen this time. SAD Esports now going to be on the offense. It's 9-3. If anyone believes in curses, then you kind of know where this one's going to go. But Izo already going to be able to just scoop up that ultimate orb and back out pretty easily as SAD Esports are looking to expect a little bit more aggression out of Prosperity, but nothing really happening. So now they will be moving off of that stealth drone.
SAD, I would have liked to see them be more aggressive off that knife and kind of catching Izo, who was out in the open, got a free orb. At least you get a free plant out of it. Having the Viper's wall just right at the back of screens, trying to deny some sight lines, and as soon as that goes down, you say hello to Prosperity. Here's the angles being taken, but what I like about SAD is they're active. They're not just laying back and waiting for the spike to tick down. It's just Vantic and Magic. Suppression on both, and importantly, the information of where Prosperity are coming from. So teamwork is going to be the name of the game for Vantic and Magic. They have fuel to work with. Magic has been found, and just better chemistry from SAD to execute on the pistol.
It's as soon as the curtains go down, the Viper's wall drops. Like, Prosperity Esports, they're not too sure where they should be looking. Meanwhile, SAD, specifically Jerwin, they set up all of these nice little angles, watching for the typical positions and make sure that they can punish anything as soon as they get vision of it. SAD Esports, once again, it feels like just those, the game sense feels a little bit more put together for them. And Prosperity are really struggling up against that. And now SAD Esports, they're on double digits. We're seeing Jerwin pick up that Outlaw. We've seen some crazy stuff with the Operator. And now I imagine this Outlaw is going to be doing just fine. As it's going to be Prosperity exploring outside of that B side. Went for the gamble stack. We'll be hoping to take a little bit of space. We'll be walking into Zerona only with a pistol in hand. So might be able to power handle this side here. Zerona are going to be able to at least find one, but that gives the information away of where this push is coming from the defenders.
And Prosperity, even though they had good frags, just not in a position to go and recover that weapon, I guess, from Zerona. So SAD. I keep mixing up Zerona and Zad. So Zad, I guess I'll just commit now. SAD are gonna plan it, eh? And now, still having this knife to check rafters. Again, SAD are very active on their post plants. And they're just playing all up close and personal and in pairs. Just the body shot from Vantic. Let's give the heads up to SAD of what's going to be happening. I think Prosperity would just be happy to go down with the spike at this point and not feed any more ult orbs, but Jerwin's not going to let that happen.
Feels like pure confidence oozing out of SAD Esports right now. course, we saw Jerwin, we saw Zerona trying to hold down the push from Prosperity Esports, but at that point, like, if you are sad, you have an idea on what the move is going to be. You have an idea on how many players are going to be pushing out of that B side. So yeah, let's just move it on to A. And sure, Yuki was kind of hanging out there, but it was such a passive angle that Sova was in. There was no real denial of anything, no real just anything besides just information, which allows them to go through. And sure, that is, you know, you're weaker by round. So maybe that's kind of just like, you know, we just want to play dead to the spike, but still, we're not seeing a lot of initiative being taken. That time around, though, Magic is going to be moving all the way in, and Benji goes down as Vantic also finds Zerona.
I'm loving this out of Magic. This is kind of the more energy I wanted to see out of this duelist, because this is an off day, and this is the worst day to have an off day when it's elimination. And you maybe throw Prosperity a bone that they're using a sub. This is obviously a different game plan, and they weren't setting as many traps or set plays on Lotus. You could tell this team looks different, and this is Sad's choice of map, so it makes sense that Prosperity aren't going to be as well drilled, not really showing this map ever. But once Magic can maybe assess where this KO knife is being thrown, can kind of play off the fact that that util is gone and take a lot more space. So good round for Magic, but many more to go for Prosperity in terms of trying to come back in this game.
And honestly, that really was just Magic finding that timing. Finding those moments where it's just uncomfortable for the other team. And now it's just all down to Jerwin at the very end there. And Prosperity, they find their 4th round. And once again, exactly like you said, they have to start collecting these rounds together, string them in so that we can start to see that potential comeback to prevent them from being eliminated, period. Sad Esports, it does feel like at the beginning of some of these rounds, they're just holding back a little bit more, allowing for these gaps to open up there. And I want to see them be taken advantage of from Prosperity. We see it kind of happening in the two-pronged attack style, outside that A site, outside that B site. And that really was just the key to success. Obviously, better weapons in the hands of Prosperity to make sure that that is like a guarantee. At the same time, we're seeing a little bit more shenanigans. A lot of information, though, gathered off of that single 0 point. And with that, Sad Esports should have an idea at who is where.
Magic in this nest, though, has been read by the KO knife, and it still doesn't matter. Kept themselves safe until the suppression was gone, and Sad tried to see, okay, we know where Magic is, but where is this support, and when is the trigger gonna get pulled? So Prosperity took a big risk, knowing that the knife sometimes lands around that A or Prosperity gets a benefit off 2 kills. Now have to go and help support B, knowing Sad had pivoted to B.
And this is an interesting little setup here that we get from Vantic as well as Manny. Just kind of holding things down. Viper's Orb ready to go. Vantic will be able to spot out a gun barrel there. And Zerona able to escape in the midst of all of that. But at this point, too, we'll be backing out. Reinforcements from Prosperity will be wrapping around. Keep in mind, Yuki is going to be anchoring that other site. So just in case we still see Sad go for that pivot, there is enough time.
Left.
They're going to be met with a little bit more resistance. Probably now just waiting for Zerona's wall to be able to come back online. And I imagine they're going to be going for Prosperity or ready to jump on them as soon as they try.
Prosperity, you can tell they're feeling the pressure. Like Vantic having a whole Viper's back
10
to him.
seconds left.
And kind of needing to really land that headshot. Now Zerona injured, but still in this, and Sad are going to decide to just save their weapons, which I think is good. You don't want to be in a position like Lotus where things started to slip away. They were up 12-9, or 12-8 actually, and then kind of the small comeback started to happen from Prosperity after a timeout. So I like that Prosperity still have some fight in them, though.
Yeah, they're definitely still kicking. And all right, Sad, you're going to check that one spot that Magic has gone in multiple times, right? This is the you're ready for it. Please tell me that you're ready for it. Because once again, we expect to see the traps being put together from utility combos. And Magic went unchecked throughout all of that, allowing for those awkward moments. Ezo in the middle of it was able to find a kill as well. But at this point, you have to be aware that that jet might be flying in. Magic not going to be going in that time around, but still I expect we're going to be seeing Sad make sure that that is going to be clear, because that has been a little bit of a pain point. Magic being a little bit more dynamic as to where this defense is being set up could be what really helps Prosperity start to pull back a lot more of these rounds. And so if they can shut down Magic like they did on that first half, then SAD are going to be set up for success. But at this point, Magic has made a full comeback, starting with like only 4 kills at the end of the first half, and is now almost top of the team for Prosperity. Magic has really activated in the second half, and they need that to happen if they want to force out map 3.
And Roy pointed out that Magic is the one to opt more than Jerwin. We've seen so little of that from Magic, if at all, and definitely could have afforded it. Just watching over B could have been a big boon, but maybe just expecting all these smokes from SAD, it's tough to be able to see anything. And now suppressed, unable to dash out, and SAD really have to clear this yellow box and every inch of it before the advance. They've been not being able to have flawless rounds because of that mishap, as the null command is still causing problems for Prosperity, and the spike is down in the worst spot possible. You gotta wait for the Viper wall to come back up, or I guess a flank through kitchen from Benji, and that alone has dismantled the round for Prosperity, and soon enough getting SAD to match point, series point.
Oh yeah, that's just an impossible situation. And I think it was Dryad who talked about the fact that, Benji, we got to watch where that Killjoy is playing, and Prosperity did simply not watch where the Killjoy was playing, taking so much free space, able to navigate as well around the turret, going undetected. Just finds excellent timing there. And keep in mind, that was a little bit of a save coming in from SAD Esports. They didn't have the necessary weaponry. Somehow Magic goes unchecked yet again, but just run and guns down thanks to a KO with the Stinger in hand. And just like this, it's going to be SAD at match point. Knives available for Jerwin. Now Magic is going to have the operator in hand. Knives available as well. This is going to be explosive.
Oh, an important kill for Jerwin. One step closer to eliminating Prosperity. Yuki, though, he's been a dark horse, and Prosperity will keep him safe. And oh, the shot into Tuesday from the op. And I've been excited to see the Magic op, and it has to shine for Prosperity, not only in this round, but many more to come. They hope to continue in Challengers, and Magic took such a big risk trying to capitalize on who had thrown out the drone. Couldn't find Tuesday in time, knowing he was hit for so much damage. And SAD have to recollect, still having a number advantage, but not having Jerwin in this is really gonna hurt SAD.
And I love that Viper's Orb right there, because now it's adding the question, maybe they were able to slip through mid. And you see that Manny has to go around. That A side is still very possible, potentially, for this site hit to happen. So it stalls things out just a little bit longer as SAD Esports get ready for B.
Vantic being able to escape and like the safe position, wait for the regroup. Yuki will be back with a recon 2, 2 shock bolts. See, I don't think he'll be into position to try and prevent the plant, so Prosperity will just have to react. Yuki's coming through that mid-cut side, and SAD get to just play off of their own Viper's wall and deny as much time, as much space from Prosperity as possible. SAD hanging back, playing off the contact of Zerona. Vantic causing movement, trying to deny some with the mollies. The walls are back up. Vantic crumbles under pressure. Manny picks up the kill. SAD still have 3 left on the post plant. Spike is taking down Prosperity. It is the go sign. Pedal to the metal. Double swing from SAD, and Benji benefits. Yuki brings attention to himself with the spike tap, but that's all she wrote for Prosperity. Our premier team is out, and SAD can be happy to move forward another week.
Yeah, an excellent effort